Milling Through History presents Walt Disney World. When it comes to visiting Florida, many people oftentimes say they want to go to Disney World. In fact, there's yet to be a child alive who would go ahead, see the sign, and immediately get excited at the prospect of going to this one particular amusement park. And yet, the history behind the park is a rather fascinating one, as the project itself was originally built with secrecy in mind. And once the cat was out of the bag, how the project would go forward from that point on was nothing short of absolutely amazing. And so, in order to understand Walt Disney World, we have to go back in time. And in doing so, we go back to the year 1955. In that particular year, Disneyland was opened in California, and Walt Disney had the idea of creating an amusement park attraction where people could bring their families and it would be an absolute joy. Now, during the first 4 years of operation, Disney did discover there were a few hiccups and things that needed to be improved upon, but by 1959, one of the most startling revelations would occur for Disneyland, namely that 95% of visitors who came to this particular park would come specifically from areas west of the Mississippi River. Only 5% of visitors who came to Disneyland were from the East Coast, and yet in 1959, 75% of the United States population lived east of the Mississippi. For Disney, this meant that the vast majority of citizens in the country were not experiencing his amusement park. As such, he became determined to build one on the East Coast. And in searching for locations, one area which intrigued him was an area in Florida known as Orlando. When he flew over it, Disney found that there was one location in the Orlando area that intrigued him. It was near a location called Bay Lake, and he felt that this would be a prime real estate location to build an amusement park, namely because a network of roads had already been constructed in the area. In addition to this, the construction of Interstate 4 and the Florida Turnpike was occurring in that particular area. And as an added bonus, the McCoy Air Force Base, which would later be referred to as the Orlando International Airport, was in existence. As a result, with multiple avenues allowing people to come to the park location, Disney knew that it wouldn't be a remote location, but rather an easy access one. No sooner does he come up with the plan of building the park in Orlando, next comes the issue of purchasing the land for the park itself. In order to prevent land speculation prices to drive up the value of the land, Walt Disney would set up dummy corporations to begin purchasing the property in Orlando from real estate agents. The agents themselves were left in the dark and were only informed that there were individuals from out of state who wanted to purchase the land for different projects. Almost immediately, rumors began to spread about who it was that was purchasing all of this land in Florida. Top heavy hitter contenders would include NASA, Ford, the Rockefellers, and Howard Hughes. However, while Disney was doing his best to keep this entire project under wraps, it was Emily Bavar of the Orlando Sentinel who would go ahead and put all the pieces of the puzzles together, and in doing so, came out with a bold prediction that it was actually Disney who was purchasing the land. In publishing an article in the Orlando Sentinel declaring that it's probably Disney, on October 25th, 1965, Walt Disney would let out the official announcement that yes, he was the one purchasing land in Florida, and his plan was to go ahead and build the greatest attraction in the history of Florida. Well, no sooner does to go ahead and make the announcement and the buzz of a whole new Disney amusement park comes into existence, then a sudden blow would occur to the Disney Corporation. On December 15th, 1966, Walt Disney would pass away from circulatory collapse due to lung cancer. Disney's brother Roy would go ahead and take over the role of being in charge of the construction of the new amusement park. At this point in time, Roy Disney had thought about retiring, but due to the death of his brother, decided to go ahead and hold off his retirement until at least phase one of the construction process was completed. The Magic Kingdom, the Contemporary Resort, and the Polynesian Village were completed and opened on October 1st, 1971. A few weeks prior, both the Palm and Magnolia golf courses had been opened, and within a month of the opening of the Magic Kingdom, Fort Wilderness would open. On October 25th, 1971, Roy O. Disney would arrive at the new park and would dedicate it to his brother, thus naming this Walt Disney World, as a way of going ahead and ensuring that the legacy of his brother would always be remembered. Ironically enough, it was just a very short time later, on December the 20th, 1971, that Roy Disney would pass away, thus ensuring that the Disney name itself would always have a legacy. But Walt Disney World itself would not be content with just simply being the Magic Kingdom. In 1971, that particular park was the only one on the property, and yet the land which surrounded the Magic Kingdom was so vast that expansion was pretty much a guarantee. In 1975, Disney Springs, which had previously been referred to as Lake Buena Vista Shopping Center, Disney Village Marketplace, and Downtown Disney, was opened. In 1982, Epcot Center was opened, and then later renamed simply Epcot. This particular location was designed specifically to be like a World's Fair, and the highlight was showcasing 11 different countries around the world. In 1989, the Disney MGM Studios would open with a unique take on Hollywood, and would eventually be renamed into Disney Hollywood Studios. Also in 1989, Disney would open its first major water park in Typhoon Lagoon. The success of this water park would open up in 1995 the Blizzard Beach Water Park. 2 years later, in 1997, the ESPN Wide World of Sports Arena would be open, bringing customers in to go ahead and enjoy all their athletic fantasies. And in 1998, the Animal Kingdom was open, namely after Disney had huge desires to go ahead and expand their parks even more. But environmentalist backlash forced Disney to think how they could go ahead and build a park while respecting nature, and thus Animal Kingdom was born. And so, while Walt Disney World itself is a massive complex with a huge number of different attractions to go to, guests continue to pour in, and as they do so, they are oftentimes amazed at the wonders and joy that Walt Disney had created. And so, his legacy of being a great entertainer continues to exist. And as such, everyone can go ahead and still make a desire to wish upon a star, and lo and behold, their dreams could quite possibly come true.
For more information, please consider these suggested titles. Be sure to click on the left-hand side of the screen to subscribe to our show, and on the right-hand side for our latest episode. And we will see you again for the next episode of Milling Through History.